And I've actually heard this. Have you heard this? The Geico Caveman, they're going to actually make a sitcom with those guys. Have you heard about that? It's crazy. And I'm like, why do people like these guys so much? I like them. I think they're cool. In fact, there's a website you can go to. You can go into the Caveman's apartment and look at all the stuff that he does. It's really funny. But why are these guys so popular? And I think a couple of reasons. Number one, I think that we like the fact that they kind of get dissed a little bit, because they're dumb. They're not very smart. They're not very bright, and they kind of have a little bit of a less than issues about them. And I think we can all kind of relate to that a little bit, and that's kind of cool. Also, one of the things that I think the reason why we like them so much is it's fun for us to see the archaic mixed with the modern. It's fun for us to see the old mixed with the new, and we get a kick out of that. And that's why, movies like Back to the Future, where the guy goes back in time and sees his mom whenever she was young, and she gets a crush on him. We think that's funny. It's just so fun. In fact, I want to just be really open with you guys and let you in on some personal stuff in my life. But last week, my wife and I got from the library. We rented Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman. And guys, I know that is a chick wuss show, I know, but I have to admit, I like to watch it. And whenever we watch it, I'm just being honest, okay? Whenever we're watching it, I see them running around and doing stuff in the 1860s in the Wild West, and I'm like, man, I would love to, for 2 weeks, go back in time and live in the 1860s, And I think, man, life would have been so easy. I mean, there's nothing that a horse and a saddle and a 6-year just couldn't take care of. You know what I'm saying? I mean, life was so easy, and I'm like, I just want to go out there and just go into the town. And then I think what would be fun is just like to take my laptop with me. Just put it in my saddlebag and say, oh, by the way, check this out. And watch it go, But of course there'd be no internet, so it wouldn't really matter. But gosh, have you ever thought about that? Wouldn't life be so easy back then? Well, really, the truth of the matter is, life really probably is easier now. I mean, some of the things that we deal with now are like, this week I was going to the coffee shop trying to get online. I couldn't get online. I was bummed out about that. I couldn't get my work done for that moment in time. And I'm like, man, this is really tough. This is a problem. Back in the 1860s, the problem was, man, I can't find any game to shoot. I don't have any food. There's no rain for my crops. My family has no food. I could die. I mean, it was obviously very, very, very hard. But it was very different. And one of the things that we have seen over the years, all the way from caveman days until now, is we've seen kind of an escalation of knowledge and an escalation in the ability to do things. It's really, really weird. If you look at history and you look back even just 100 years ago, and I don't have the actual stats for it, but you look at the amount of the population of America that were farmers is a certain percent. It's like maybe half or something crazy like that. You look at it now, the amount of people that are farmers, it's so small. But why is that? It's because we know how to do it better. We have systems that have got in place that less people can feed so much more people, and it's not that big of an issue. We have this whole escalation of information. But one of the things that does is, with our ability to do more, it also produces something there's more expected of us. And there's more that's required. And what that does is that gets us into a situation where you are under so much pressure in your life to do stuff and to perform stuff. And I already let you in on a little secret that I like to watch Dr. Quinn, which that was a lot of guys wouldn't ever say that out loud. But we believe in being real around here. And I'm going to be really real with you guys about my week this week, and just kind of let you in on what was going through Andrew's mind this week. This week I just had a really busy and crazy week. And it was one of those weeks where the way that it works for me is my week starts on Tuesday and it ends on Sunday. And I take Monday off. And so Tuesday I was starting the week, and I sat down and I hadn't been working for more than 2 hours. And this is our 2-year anniversary. We had life groups that were beginning. We had some advertising that we were trying to, get going, and there was just a lot of issues that we had to do. And then you add on top of that just the responsibilities of, being a husband. And then you add on top of that the responsibilities of your kids. And one of my kids just started school. One of them is in kindergarten, so it's all kind of a new thing for him. And you've got those responsibilities. And then just the management of life in general. And I was 2 hours into my week, and I was freaking out. I was looking at my calendar and there's no way I'm going to be able to get this done. And I was, I was sitting there, I was drinking some coffee, and I'm just like, gosh, what am I going to do? And I'm looking at my calendar, and I'm trying to figure this out. And what I felt like, I don't know if you guys remember back, I don't know what it was on, but there's this video that I've seen of maybe it was a circus performer or somebody on TV where they had these poles. And on top of the poles, they would take these plates, and they would spin these plates on top of the poles, and it would just balance there. And what was amazing is he would have a whole bunch of them. He'd have like 5 or 6 or 7 plates that were there, and he'd spin these plates on top of these poles and be holding them and balancing there. And about the time one of them would stop spinning, he would run over there and spin it again just before it fell, and it would keep going. And we'd go to all these plates and spin them. And it was amazing. That is exactly the way that I felt this week. I felt like I had all of these plates spinning. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I just literally freaked out. And I had to stop and I had to say, I feel like I need some rest after 2 hours. I feel like I already need a break. And I thought, well, I could probably afford 10 minutes of break. Okay, hurry up, start now. Have you ever done that before? You feel like you need a break. It's like, well, I've got an hour on Tuesday to have a break. Then you get to the break and you're like, okay, break. Okay, I guess I better rest. Hurry up and rest. Hurry up and rest. And then that's not a break at all. It's horrible. Does anybody relate to that? I think we can all relate to that a little bit. And I stopped and I walked outside and I was praying and I go, God, I feel like I've got my hand in so many things. I don't feel like I'm hitting a home run in any single one of them, including my family. And I just broke down for a minute. I was like, God, what am I supposed to do? And for some strange reason, I started thinking about these cavemen, which I have no idea why. It must have been from God. And I thought, you know what? The cavemen have the answer to this problem. They've got the answer to it. I'll explain that here in just a second. Have you ever had a week like that? Where you just, man, it's just, oh, what's going on? Pressure. I think one of the things that happens is we try to cope with that stuff in certain ways. I know I do. One of my mechanisms of coping is I just say, man, I'm going to get really good with my calendar. And I'm really going to just try to get things in order. And I've got this really cool calendar on my computer where everything's color-coded and I just try to fit it in there, and it looks like a collage of colors. I think, okay, if I just get on the calendar, I can put a recurring thing in the little ding will go off when I'm supposed to do that. That'll help me. It'll save my brain cells, from having to think about it. That'll somehow help with the stress. It's a coping mechanism, and it doesn't always work. And I'll be honest with you, another way that I try to cope is coffee. There's nothing that a mocha frappuccino can't take care of. Whenever you're kind of down, I try to cope that way. That's not necessarily a great thing, but unfortunately, there are a lot of people out there that try to cope with the craziness and busyness of their life in some very destructive ways. They try to cope with it in the flesh. I know a lot of people that they try to just escape from life. And they'll escape in something else, maybe a hobby. They'll escape in maybe doing something that is even destructive and deadly. I think that's the reason why a lot of people wind up having an affair, is they just get out and they want to try to cope in an escape. It's like an alternate lifestyle. A lot of people get on the internet and they just roam on the internet, just to escape from the real world for a little bit. But that's really not the way we're supposed to do it. I think the cavemen have the answer, and this is basically what it is right here. So the caveman, you think about the basics. What does a caveman represent? He represents food, shelter, fire, the wheel. You think of the wheel, the caveman, the basics. And I really feel like what we have to do to be able to cope with life is we have to get back to the basics and take it down and get back to the things that really, really matter, that are foundational, and that is the thing that helps us to get it done.